Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh, you're here for a shop tour. Well, that's awesome. I was just about to give one. So let's walk around and take a look at the shop. So we'll start on this side, man, it's been, I think the last shop tour I did was probably 2017, 2018 time frame. I think I uploaded it in 2020, and that was back in our 2-car garage in our old house in the suburbs. This is going to be the first shop tour I've done out here since we built all this. But I'm ready to get it done. I can't wait to show you everything. Finally excited to have kind of a dedicated spot here. All right, let's get started here. So probably my most used tools, and one of the oldest tools I have, is this miter saw. It's an old rigid saw. I bought it, man, probably 2000, 2001. It's one of those deals. When I bought it, it was probably $250 new, which seemed like an incredible amount of money at the time. And I think I found it on sale at Home Depot one day for $225, and I went ahead and signed up for a Home Depot card so I could get 10% off. So I think I got it for right around 200 bucks. And this thing has been a workhorse. We're getting ready to put up crown molding in the house we had just bought, and we're getting ready to build a deck. So this thing was a great addition. As far as I know, they didn't make sliding saws back then. It was all, you could get a compound. So I got a compound saw and got the 12-inch. So, with the discounts, I pretty much got the 12-inch for the size of a 10, and it's been a beast. It's starting to wear out. This knob is just getting gross. It's like I thought it was just had gunk on it, and I tried to clean it and wipe it off, but unfortunately it just the rubber started coming off as I tried to wipe it off. So I need to find a new knob. They show discontinued on Rigid sites, so I'm gonna have to either DIY my own or find somebody that makes something for it. One of my big saw purchases that came right after this one, it wasn't actually this table saw, but it was a table saw. I bought an older Craftsman 10-inch contractor saw and used it for years. The miter slots in it were horrible. They didn't fit anything standard. No matter what I did, I could get the blade, squared up to the fence really good, and then it'd be out of square. So pretty much every time I use it, I'd have to go through and re-square it. So I just got tired of that whole deal. I think I paid 99 bucks for that old one on an after Christmas sale one year. And then I think I sold it for 99 bucks, probably 15 years later. But anyway, when I got rid of that one, I bought this one. I got a sled for it. I actually just found the sled. It was over behind some stuff when I was building my storage container wall there. So I was able to find the sled and pull it out and start using it. But this saw has been a beast. My whole life, I've always been kind of nervous about doing anything with a table saw, possibly losing fingers or something. So, I wanted to go ahead and upgrade and get the flesh detecting technology. And, no complaints about this saw at all. And the support I've gotten from SawStop over the years, if I had any questions or problems, has been phenomenal. They're a great company. And the biggest reason I got this particular saw was because of the collapsibility of it. And same thing with the miter saw. I've never had a need to build a miter station or anything. I loved when we had a 2-car garage being able to fold up both the miter saw and the table saw and get them out of the way. We were still able to get my wife's car in there if we needed it. I don't necessarily need it now. I've got space. I could handle a miter station and could handle a bigger table saw, but these still work good for what I'm doing. One of these days I may look at a bigger table saw, but for now this one just does exactly what I need. And I've got my little lathe set up here. I just put it on it's where I used to store my miter stand before I needed it more portable. This stand that actually came with the saw at purchase time, but I use it now just to hold the lathe. And I got the lathe, I think for my 50th birthday. My wife got it for me, and I've not been someone that's turned a lot, so I don't know a lot about turning. I was starting to use it quite a bit before we moved, and I just haven't gotten it taken up again. But now that I've got a little bit of space out here and kind of got things cleaned up a bit and moved around where I can get to stuff, I want to start using it. Now I'm going to have to clean some stuff up. I've got some rust on here big time. All the tools when we moved, they were stored in a unconditioned storage facility for months and months on end. And then even out here, I'm in a metal building. I don't have insulation yet, so here in Texas it'll be 30 degrees in the morning and 80 degrees in the afternoon, and it definitely makes for some humidity challenges. But now that I've got power out here, I would like to go ahead and get the the wall spray foam, get some insulation in here, and get humidity control out here so I can keep it, at least keep everything from rusting. Once I get it cleaned up, I'm not going to be fighting it over and over again. And here I've got my router table. I think this is a Grizzly router table, if I remember. I believe I ordered it from Grizzly a few years ago. A couple of routers. I've got an old Ryobi router that I just test, and I upgraded to a rigid router a few years ago, and that thing is a beast. I mean, it is really a beast, but just the plunge part of it is horrible. It's hard to use. I've never had good luck with it. And I've actually got an issue with it. I'm probably gonna do a whole nother video on me trying to fix the router and figuring out what to do. I'm gonna go ahead and probably mount the rigid router in here and make it a permanent install in the router table. And then I'll buy just a smaller router to use, do hand routing with. But again, something for the future. Nothing's gonna happen right now. And the last tool on this side of the shop is this old Craftsman scroll saw. I bought this off Facebook Marketplace. I don't even know, probably 10 years ago or 12 years ago. Thought I was gonna get into scrolling a little bit. And I have done a few things with it. Honestly, scrolling is one of those things I kind of enjoy it, but it's not something I really get into. So I've really used this saw pretty much since I don't have a bandsaw. This kind of cuts the wood that is, a little bit small. That's going to be hard to cut with a table saw or with a miter saw. I can cut it on here and feel relatively safe. The thing works great. It doesn't have a ton of power, and it's, I've got a pretty good throw there on the arm to get bigger pieces of wood in there, but it's just never something I've used for other than just a few pieces here and there. And there's one more piece I didn't talk about on this side of the shop, and that is the dust collection. So this is an old Harbor Freight dust collector. I've had it for a few years. I tried to use it in the old two-car garage. It didn't really like it. I didn't have but a couple of circuits out there, and this thing really likes its own dedicated 15 amp circuit. So when I put electrical out here, you can't see it behind there really, but I've got a dedicated 15 amp circuit just for this that's on its own breaker. That way I can actually run a tool and the dust control at the same time. And the previous house, I could run one or the other, which didn't do a lot of good. So pretty much I'd make a big mess and clean it up with a dust separator there. But it is nice to have this hooked up where I can use it all the time now. All right, well, that pretty much does it for this side of the shop. So now let's go to the dirty side of the shop. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, we haven't been looking at the dirty side already? No. Unfortunately, this is about the cleanest this thing has been in years since we've been here. So now let's go take a, well, tell you what, before we even go to the other side, I think I'm gonna get a drink. I've been talking more than I talk for a while. So I guess that is another part of the shop. I've got pretty much a dorm fridge sitting in here. Have a few drinks, but did not want to close. Makes me think of a joke. All right, your mama's so fat, when she gets on the elevator, it don't say ding, it says dang. It's a good drink though. All right, here we are on the other side. Of course, I've got a old, I think it's like a Husky or something, just a little toolbox to keep all my tools in. I can wheel it over to that side of the garage if I'm working on a car, changing the oil, doing brakes or whatever. Just a basic tool thing I built, I don't know, 20 years ago, just to hold all the outdoor tools. Ideally in the future, I'd love to have a storage container or something outside and keep all my outdoor tools, the rakes, the shovels, mowers, whatever, all that's kept out there, and I don't have to have space taken up in here. Definitely a lot of this space is used for things that don't need to be in here. But and of course, my wife got me for my birthday a couple years ago, my shop vac had died, so she got me a new DeWalt vac that just works great. I use it over here if I'm using the Craig jig. I built this little station many years ago. Of course, I got tons of different size screws back there. And this is really my joinery of choice. I'm not doing anything really sophisticated, but I enjoy just doing pocket holes and putting stuff together. It's always seemed to work very good. I've done it for both indoor and outdoor projects and had really good success with it. And the next little piece here is this vise. I actually rebuilt it a few years ago. I need to do it again, but this vise was at my parents' house when I was growing up. It was outside one of the little sheds there. I mean, I can't imagine how many times I used this as a kid. I actually remember when my dad brought it home, I guess from Sears because it's Craftsman, and we installed it on top of a little table that he had sitting out there. And you know, I would put my BB gun in it and put a target way off a bit and sight it in, and I held my bike with it when I was trying to work on it or whatever. I mean, I use this thing all the time, and when he passed away, we were cleaning out the house. I couldn't wait to get it home, and I had it cleaned up looking really nice. And of course, just like everything in here, the rust has kind of gotten to it. It needs a little more work now. Bench grinder, same thing. It came from his from my dad's old house. It wasn't anything that's that old. I think I even may have given it to him for Christmas, and I'm not sure if he did anything with it other than sharpening his mower blades. And to be honest, that's mostly what I use it for, and it works great. Of course, the piece of railroad track here, that I guess I'll call that my anvil. You know, I've seen so many videos of the people build, like they'll take plywood and make a little holder for this, and with a handle and everything. I really want to do that because it, you know, a lot of times I don't use it here. I may take it out and set it on the trailer and do something out there with it. So it'd be nice to have an easy way to handle it, but that thing is crazy heavy. And probably the last thing on this side is the drill press. And I've had this for quite a few years. I happened to be walking through Lowe's one day. I'd been looking for a drill press for a few years, and you know, just kind of watching them. I was looking at a Delta, and there were a few other brands that I was looking at, but Lowe's had these on clearance. It's GMC, Global Machinery Company, and I guess they were clearing out all the tools from that brand. I think I paid $40 for that drill press. And I mean, it's nothing great, but it's worked. I've used it a million times. And to be honest, this tool is one of the ones that I've injured myself with. I was holding a block of wood one time and had a spade bit chucked up, and just the minute the spade bit hit the wood, it grabbed it and spun it and busted my thumb open. And you know, I've had a scar there for 20 years because of that. But anyway, overall the thing works great. And I actually broke the handle on it. I was taking it in the truck to use it. We were building projects for my daughter's high school band, and I took it up there to use it, and it fell over and the handle broke when it hit the bed of the truck. A good friend of mine welded it back together for me, and I was able to paint it and make it. It looks close enough now that you can't even tell it was broken. You can't tell it's not original. All right, and the last piece I want to talk about in the shop is just a French cleat wall. You know, I had a French cleat wall in our old area. It was just on one little area above. It's set right between the cabinets on the floor and the wall cabinets. And so it only held a few tools, but I wanted to expand it when I got out here. And I've still got room to hold all of my drivers and my drills, saws, jigsaw, reciprocating saw, circular saw. This time I went ahead and added a pegboard that's on the French cleat so I can raise it and lower it. Now, obviously, the stuff up there is kind of high, so I have to put things up there I really don't use very often. I do need to pull a few things like that digital angle gauge. I actually use that quite a bit with a table saw, so I need to probably pull that down. And some of the stuff down here I never use, so I need to reorg it a little bit. But you know, some of these are relatively new, like this sander one I haven't had for that long. But I mean, it works great just to hold the rigid sander there. Added a few things just to keep them here and give them a place so I can always find them when I need them. The battery holder is relatively new. I built that, and then I've started printing some actual battery holders, you know, to hold the DeWalt batteries. Do I have one here? I'm gonna mount them up under those shelves and just be able to slide the batteries in there and then grab them and get them out. So I've got a few of those printing, and I'm probably gonna do another video just strictly talking about things I'm 3D printing, because I've got a lot of stuff coming to the French cleat wall and a few other places that are all 3D printed. And I got these I put these in my Amazon list for Christmas. I've got some old DeWalt tools. Actually, the old DeWalt ones that you'll see in the old video. the old 18 volt one. So now I'll be able to hook those up and use the new style batteries in those. So before long, I'll be adding a few more holders here to get those. It'll have an extra driver and an extra drill. Now I know a lot of people, when they mount these, they either mount them this way in a pipe or something, or they mount them this way. I for sure don't want it this way, because I leave bits chucked up in these all the time. I mean, when I'm out working somewhere, I can have a long drill bit, and I don't necessarily want to take it out all the time. I'm just going to stick the drill up here and be able to move it over and give plenty of space that it can, go over there with the drill bit still in there. I'd like to go ahead and finish out the rest of the cleat wall up there. I'll probably get a few more holders built, but that's going to mostly finish out this wall. I can't see adding too much more. Now I will say the biggest thing I have that's the issue over here is normally my side-by-side sets here. I pulled it out today, so I've got more room here, but normally it sets right here. I don't want to leave it outside all the time. Those things can walk away a little easy, so I like to keep it in here and keep it locked up, make sure it doesn't disappear. But of course I've got a lot of wood storage over there, but my biggest need in this shop right now is to get a workbench. I'd like to have at least maybe a 6x4 or 6x3 workbench right here, because right now if I needed to build anything, it's pretty much go find a couple of sawhorses, find some 2x4s and maybe a piece of plywood and kind of do a makeshift workbench. But I would love to have one, and maybe a couple, that I could roll and put together, secure them together and have a little bit of additional space. But one of these days it's something I'm going to build. It's never been a top priority. Every time I think I'm going to work on it, something else comes up and takes the time away. And this was given to me a couple of years ago. A friend had it and he had never really used it. I think someone gave it to him, but it's an old Powercraft from Montgomery Ward's 6 1/8 inch jointer. I'd really like to clean it up and use it. It's obviously going to require new blades. Those are toast, but it may or may not work. I mean, I've turned it on, I know the motor works. That's about the most I've let myself do with it so far. I want to make sure it's safe before I use it. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, do I even want to mess with it, or do I just wait and let, wait till I can afford something better and get a newer jointer that may have a few safety features. So if any of you guys have one of these old ones like this, let me know. I'd love to hear how it's worked out for you, and if you really feel like it's safe. And something else that I use constantly is this old, it's a Husky compressor. Man, I've used this thing forever. I think my dad got this for me many years ago. I think when I mentioned earlier in the early 2000s, we were putting up crown molding. When we first started, I would, use little bitty brad nails and hammer them up and try to hide them. And then, he ended up getting me this, and it's just been an amazing tool. And I still use it constantly today for airing up the mower tires or whatever. And I also will stick, we've got a framing nailer and got a brad nailer that we use quite a bit. I think the brad nailer's a Hitachi brand, and then I've got a rigid framing nailer that I use. And just had really good luck with all of them. But this thing leaks. It pretty much never shuts off because it can't build up enough pressure. So its time has come, but I'm too cheap to buy when something's still kind of working. So I'll milk it for as long as I can before I have to buy something else. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and it's always good to do a shop tour. Like I say, I haven't done one since 2017, 2018, but this is 2025 shop tour. I'll try to do one every year or so just to show what's changed and what new things have come along. I'm just so happy right now to have this space, kind of a dedicated shop area, and I finally got power out here, I don't know, a little over a year ago, and need to start getting it insulated. Got plenty to do. So I'd love to hear your comments, what you think, anything I could do better, anything I've done that you don't understand. I'd love to answer questions about it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Y'all have a great day.